Good evening and welcome to News 360. The bulletin is coming to you live from the News Hub here at Adiso Kanda. I'm Natalie Fort.
And I am Mr. Morning. Coming up now, the headlines for tonight.
News 360 headlines is brought to you by Deluxe Paint, Heaven Black Mosquito Coil and Spray,
Premier Health Insurance, Calipo, and Nido Fortigro. Your love, their future.
New Governing Council for University of Science and Technology to be reconstituted on Friday, November 2, for academic work to resume on November 8.
Director General of the Ghana Maritime Authority, Kwame Owusu, defends decision to contract his hotel for a luncheon.
Youth Group gives Ghana Highway Authority and the Sector Ministry up to November 12 to complete footbridges on the Medina-Adentan-Ebri Highway.
On the foreign front this evening, Angela Merkel to step down as German Chancellor in 2021. Stay with us here on News 360 for the details of these stories and much more news. As always, you could watch us all across the world on 3news.com. Let's start off with our very first story this evening, as a new governing council for the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology is to be reconstituted on Friday, November 2, for academic work to resume on November 8. Now, these were made known after a crunch meeting in Accra between government and the University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG.
The 3-hour meeting between government and UTAG was held behind closed doors. After deliberations with the leadership of UTAG, government has directed that a new governing council be constituted by Friday, November 2, while investigations into the incidents on campus are carried out.
Council is expected to be reconstituted by Friday, November 2nd, 2018. The reconstituted council will then take over from the interim governing council. UTAG has undertaken to restore services, cooperate in resolution efforts, and encourage other stakeholders to join resolution efforts. In accordance with the earlier directive by the President of the Republic, the university is expected to reopen by November 8, 2018 for normal academic work to resume.
National President of UTAG, Dr. Rikopoku, praised government for agreeing to reconstitute the Council of KNUST.
We support it and we are going to abide by it to make sure that law and order is restored on KNUST campus and our dear students return back for us to do what we love to do best. We're hoping that all arrangements being put in place to make sure that the council is reconstituted, Vice Chancellor restored, all of it would work accordingly, according to the timetable.
He pledged strong commitment to ensure internal problems are resolved amicably. On Monday, October 22, students of the university embarked on a demonstration which turned violent, leading to the destruction of property.
Meanwhile, the Asantehene Otumfuo Seitu II has held a closed-door meeting with the various interest groups at Binshia Palace in Kumasi over the students' violent protests and the university's management impasse.
The Asantehene Otumfuo Seitu II, who is Chancellor of the university, was out of the country during the students' protest, which resulted in the vandalism of property on campus. The Asante Regional Security Council closed down the university indefinitely until government last Thursday announced the dissolution of the university's governing council and the reconstitution of an interim council. Government's decision has been resisted by various interest groups on campus, including the University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, the Teachers and Education Workers Union, TEU, the Ghana Association of University Administrators, GAWA, and the Federation of University Senior Staff Association of Ghana, FUSAG. These groups insist the acts and statutes of the university provide adequate mechanisms in resolving the impasse and want the dissolved council reinstated. Representatives of all these groups, as well as the management and students' representative council of the university, met with the Chancellor Otumfuo Seitu in a closed-door meeting at the Binshia Palace on Monday. Tewu Chair at the KNUST, Charles Arthur, who was at the meeting, spoke to TV3.
Chancellor said that the government can withdraw its members being the 4 and then replace them. And then he is ready, he is prepared to allow that, and then he will inaugurate them either Friday or before Friday, so that council can go ahead. By this, the Vice Chancellor will have to go ahead doing his work.
University Students Association of Ghana, USAG, has expressed disappointment over the strike by the University Teachers Association of Ghana, describing their action as unfortunate. The student body are of the view the action taken by the KNUST chapter of UTAG is illegal and demanded that they resume work.
University Teachers Association of Ghana and expressed surprise the lecturers never responded to the brutalities meted out to some students on the KNUST campus.
USAG is saddened and disappointed by the strike action threatened and undertaken by the KNUST University Teachers Association of Ghana. Where was UTAG KNUST chapter when students consistently complained bitterly about brutality by security personnel and other inhuman treatment in the school?
The students expressed their support for the Interim Management Council and urged members to execute their mandate to get academic work back on track in the university. They stated the students will comply with any outcome of the council, even if they are asked to pay for the damage caused on campus.
If management at the end of the day comes out and say that the destruction of the properties should be borne by students, because largely everything should be placed on our doorstep, we'll be ready to pay. But we are also saying that if the interim council comes up with a resolution that all these things happened because of the one lack of show of leadership on the part of the management, we are saying that the management should take full responsibility of same.
The student body said it is erroneous for the media and public to attribute the cause of the demonstration to the conversion of single-sex halls to mixed halls when it was rather the brutalities meted out to some students.
The minority in Parliament earlier today demanded for the dismissal of the Education Minister and the Minister of State responsible for tertiary education. At a news conference in Accra, the minority leader Haruna Idrisu says the two who showed their support publicly for the Vice-Chancellor and the dissolved Council of the KNUST must also take responsibility for incidents at the university.
It must be emphasized that we would not accept the erosion and respect to the rule of law and its possible substitution for the rule of the rule. We're a country governed by law, a country governed by a constitution which provides in Article 21 and 70 provisions that protect the academic freedom of our tertiary institutions. And in particular, Act 454 of 1993, the National Council for Tertiary Education. You can see a government in a hurry to dissolve council without recourse to due process. We submit strongly that the whole impasse, which has now spiraled out of control, is a mark of failure of leadership by government and a reflection of their super incompetence characterized by rule of the rule. We are in government, we are in power, we will do as it pleases when they should be respecting the laws and due process.
Let's turn to some other stories this evening as the Director General of the Ghana Maritime Authority, Kwame Owusu, says the decision to contract his hotel for the luncheon had the board's approval. Now, a leaked memo last week showed the authority had paid 10,652 cedis to the hotel for lunch for 8 people.
A spirited defense. Ghana Maritime Authority offered the leaked memo that went viral last week. Content of the memo was defended by management of the authority, except a quick dismissal of portions they say were doctored. The Director General, who had not been in the country, was contacted after management released the memo. He blamed some people within and outside the authority who are bent on seeing him fail on claims of conflict of interest position in the award of the launch contract to his hotel Lax Suite Executive Hotel. Kwame also says it was purely a board decision and cannot constitute a conflict of interest. He will, however, not respond to further questions except to say the authority will hold a news conference with a full complement of the board to address the issues. The Ministry of Transport has waded into the controversies at the Ghana Maritime Authority. A statement issued and signed by the Minister of Transport has directed the board of the authority to investigate happenings at the authority. The same board, the Director General says, gave approval for the Deluxe Executive Hotel, which he owns, to supply lunch for members of the authority and stakeholders. Komla Kluche, TV3 News, Accra.
You're watching News 360, and right now a youth group calling itself Fix Our Footbridges Now has given the Ghana Highway Authority and the sector ministry up to November 12 to complete footbridges on the Medina, Adenta and Ebri Highway or risk a protest. The 7 pedestrian footbridges were part of the Tetakwashi Manfe Highway project, which was open to traffic in 2013.
An estimated 200 lives have been lost on the stretch through motor accidents. The Ghana Highway Authority promised to get the footbridges completed by the end of October. Executive member of Fix Our Bridges Now, Richmond Kwesi Aguia, expressed the frustration of residents in communities along the highway.
If we scream, then our shout is not enough to be heard. I mean, then we are joking. So we're just pleading on the higher authorities to come to our aid. Nobody wants to be in the Sandemo Street nor anything. But I think that they should know that we would actually escalate our grievances if nothing is done. It's not a threat. It's a simple message.
Assemblyman for Adenta West, Rashid Osebonsu, expressed disappointment over lack of feedback from people responsible for the completion of the footbridges.
We have been able to get to every important individual who has relation to work on that bridge. Nothing has been, nobody has communicated to this. Government has the capability. Maybe we have not been loud enough. So I'm entreating all residents of Medina, Adenta, Pantai, Oyarefa, everybody who uses the highway, that is the Medina Highway, to join us on the 12th of November whilst we move. This is an action for all. November now or never.
MC of Lankwantanai Medina Municipality, Jennifer Dede Ajabin, assured them of the completion of the footbridges.
October is not over technically for me because now I can start agitating after October. What if I start today and tomorrow I see some works? So I am also waiting patiently. But I believe that with the assurances that we've been given, even if nothing has started, we will go back and get information on why the footbridges or no work has been seen as commencing yet.
Footbridges must be seen as a road safety issue rather than just courage for pedestrians.
You're watching News 360. Let's now turn to our MTN Vigil Reports this evening as our citizen journalist Concerned Citizen reports on a dilapidated structure meant for a junior high school at Ahihia Methodist in the Bono Ahafo region.
Ghanaians to take a look at this particular structure, which is meant for a junior high school. You'll be amazed to see a structure like this where students are learning to write the same exam with people in Accra, people in Kumasi. When it's raining, you feel uncomfortable. Talking about when wind is blowing, a lot of noise to an extent that the teacher found it very difficult to talk for the students to hear. We are pleading to the authorities that they should come and do something that help us.
Well, certainly a very, very worrying development there. Grateful for that report. We encourage you to also send your video report via WhatsApp number. It's 05514330044. You're watching News 360. We've got some more news coming up shortly. Stay with us. Welcome back to News 360. Let's get into the world of business now, as government and the United Nations have launched the UN Sustainable Development Partnership Program here in Accra. The 5-year partnership framework from 2018 to 2022 outlines the United Nations support of Ghana's national development efforts.
The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development is an ambitious global and unified agenda for social, economic, and environmental development, translated into concrete and measurable results through its 17 Sustainable Development Goals. The SDGs are owned nationally, and each country is responsible for setting its own strategies on how to achieve them. The UN Sustainable Development Partnership outlines the UN's partnership with Ghana for achieving the SDGs through 4 strategic areas comprising shared prosperous economy, social investment in people, protected and safe environment, and inclusive accountable governance.
The partnership framework sets out the collective contributions of 24 UN agencies working in Ghana, from World Health Organization, Food and Agriculture Organization, UN Development Program, UNICEF in particular. These agencies will be implementing this partnership program through annual joint work plans agreed with government ministries and agencies and carried out with many implementing partners in government, civil society, and academia.
The 5-year UNSDP, at a cost of $441 million, is funded from UN agencies' own resources.
Whatever plan that we have, there has to be a link of that plan to the budget. The coordinated program that we have actually has embedded in it the Sustainable Development Goals, and in fact the UNDAF is also part of that. If you don't do that, it becomes a slogan.
The UN Sustainable Development Partnership succeeds the previous UN program, the UN Development Assistance Framework 2012 to 2017.
Now, the Institute of Chartered Accountants, Ghana, has asked accountants to support government in promoting strong public accounting management. President of the Institute, Professor Adam Frimpong, is confident that their support will help reduce corruption in the public sector. He was speaking at a ceremony to induct more than 500 chartered accountants here in Accra.
President of the Institute, Professor Adam Frimpong, made a case for best accountancy practice in the public sector to reduce corruption. He underscored the role of chartered accountants in auditing and corporate governance to enhance transparency. He again called for self-discipline and integrity to safeguard the accountancy profession.
Don't be in a hurry, work hard, focus on your attitude development as much as your technical development are concerned. When you land a job placement, be proactive, be bold, be teachable, and stay humble. Invest in people around you, and you'll never stop dreaming.
More than 500 chartered accountants were inducted. They undertook courses in forensic auditing and corporate governance. Others went through public financial management as well as quantitative tools to promote business. Outstanding chartered accountants were awarded for hard work.
Turn to employment-related issues, as Minister of Employment and Labour Relations Ignatius Baffour-Ewuah has cautioned employers to desist from issuing threats on dismissal and firing of employees without informing them. Now, the sector minister at the Made in Africa Conference on Occupational Health and Safety in Accra noted that the practice violates decent work ethics.
Sector Minister Ignatius Baffour-Ewuah was saddened about recent spate of dismissals at various work environments. He noted lack of adequate discussions with dismissed employees violate decent work ethics. He implored employers to halt such threats of dismissals since it affects the well-being of employees.
Even issues of emotional injury can equally be causes of death at the workplace. And sometimes we ignore that. The way we communicate punishment to workers, the way we communicate, you just call the staff and tell them you are fired. You can imagine that which will go through the minds of such a person.
To further address occupational health and safety issues, the sector minister indicates a strong commitment to engage the tripartite committee to review the occupational health and safety regulation. The regulation, which was promulgated in 1987, the minister said could not meet the current trend in industrial and labor practice.
There is little safe work culture and safety at the workplace, as these are usually of secondary concern to both employers and employees. Workers become victims of accidents which could easily have been prevented if the proper structures were in place for effective prevention and removal of these hazards.
Deputy Secretary General of Trade Union Congress TUC, Joshua Ansa, asked government to be swift in dealing with decent work challenges.
We have very good employees who abide by the rules and regulations of this health and safety. We also have those in the union terms you call recalcitrant employees who do not want to hear anything about health and safety. And I think because you cannot become non-aid Ghanaians without taking seriousness with issues on health and safety.
Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Barbara Otinjesi, called for strict regulations on occupational health and safety issues in the mining areas.
Government's overarching policy objective is to ensure that mining companies operating in the country conduct their activities in a manner that protects the physical environment, the workforce, and the general public.
The three-day conference is on the theme, Safe and Healthy Work Culture for Sustainable Development.
And on that note, we wrap up the business segment here on News 360. For more business news, just visit our website. It's 3news.com. Over to you, Isa.
Thank you, Natalie. And let's do some more stories. Glorious Jesus School has won the 3rd edition of Cowbellpedia Quiz Competition in Accra. The quiz, organized by Promasidor, producers of Cowbell, is intended to promote the study of the 1992 Constitution among first and second cycle students.
The quiz featured over 200 junior high and 14 senior high schools. The 6 junior high schools which made it to the grand finale were Barack Obama School, Association Community Model Basic School, St. Joseph School, Top Ridge, Firm Foundation, and Glorious Jesus School. Cowbellpedia is aimed at educating students on their civic rights embedded in the 1992 Constitution.
And pension conditions of the chairman of regional tribunal be equal to
Justice of the High
Court.
Glorious Jesus School emerged winners at the JHS level.
Wow, congrats guys. Congratulations guys.
While Congress Academy Business School won at the SHS level. The branch manager of Cowbell, Joseph Ashon, said the country would progress when students are empowered about the Constitution and their civic rights and duties.
It's very, very important that we let our future generation know that, look, we are Ghanaians, we have common values that we must all cherish. Equality is one, integrity is one, nationalism is one, and this is the time that the brand believe that we have to start inculcating this into these children.
The Greater Accra Regional Secretary of the NCCE, Lucille Annan, said the quiz is a fulfillment of the NCCE's mandate to educate people on the 1992 Constitution and defend it.
Our main aim is to get the children to learn the Constitution. That is our aim. And so if they are here and they've been able to learn certain parts of the Constitution and they are able to give answers to these questions, I am impressed.
Cowbellpedia is in its 3rd year and organizers intend to scale it up to the national level.
We'll return with some more stories. Stay with us. Let's begin in Germany. This is the international segment of NEWS360, and Angela Merkel has said she would step down as Chancellor in 2021 following recent setbacks. Merkel also said she would not seek re-election as leader of the center-right CDU party in December. She has held the post since 2000. The CDU was severely weakened in Sunday's poll in the state of Hesse, the latest in a series of setbacks. Both the CDU and its national coalition partners, the Social Democrats, were 10 percentage points down on the previous poll there. The election comes just weeks after Mrs. Merkel's Bavarian sister party, the CSU, suffered huge losses in a state parliament vote.
And some more international news. The Indonesian flight which crashed shortly after takeoff had suffered instrument problems the day before. That's according to a technical log. Now, a log from a flight from Bali to Jakarta on Sunday said an instrument was unreliable and that the pilot had to hand over to the first officer. It went down after taking off from Jakarta, and there is no sign of survivors. There's more international news on 3news.com. Coming up next is entertainment. Stay with us.
All right, so let's now settle for some entertainment and lifestyle news here with me, Nana Kwejodo. Now, moving on to GMB yesterday, the hopes of GMB's Western Regional Representative Adepa was dashed as she got evicted on Sunday night. Her eviction leaves 7 contestants to battle it out for the coveted GMB crown. Now, Abna from the Eastern region grabbed a brace on the night, winning star performer and the most eloquent contestant.
The market, schools, churches, and say, one Ghana city for a clean Ghana.
Contestants posed as mentors, grooming their proteges on event planning while shaping their GMB dreams. Posing as a life coach preparing her mentee to take part in the Ghana's Most Beautiful pageant at the press presentation left much to be desired.
You also have to read wide. Do a lot of research about your culture and the region.
According to the judges, her performance portrayed rudeness and fell short of the virtue of respect.
Adepa, if this is what you have gained so far, then we have obviously failed, because you came across as rude, very disrespectful. Your attitude towards an elderly person was wrong. That is not what we want to see in our beauty queens. A beauty queen should be gracious.
I think that was a downside of all that you did. So
the 21-year-old was evicted, bringing to 3 the number of evictees. Though unpleasant, Adepa took the news in good faith.
I believe I joined this journey, and it was a journey of uncertainty. Nobody knows the outcome, so I just accept it in good faith.
She hopes to pick up the pieces.
Although it's very sad and it's something I least expected, it's here and it's not the end of the world for me. Yes, it's very sad, but I have to cope with it. I'll make sure I do very well to show people that this is not all I'm about. I can do better.
Adepa wished the 7 remaining contestants the best of luck.
I'll tell them to put up their bests, and then whoever wins has my support. In fact, I'm supporting all of them. I'm very proud of them. I wish them all the best.
Eastern Regional Rep Abena grabbed a brace on the night, star performer and the most eloquent performer.
It's just an amazing feeling to have 2 awards on the same day. But I'm so happy, not because I did well, but because I had an amazing child. She made my work so easy and it turned out to be so perfect.
She urged Adepa to be strong and give life after GMB the best shot.
She should stay strong, focus, and she should forget the past and focus on her future.
All right, so we wish Adepa all the best, and as she moves on to continue with her dream. Now, moving on still with GMB, popular musician and satirist A+ has eulogized Ghana's Most Beautiful for its educational values and impact on the youth. Now, the freedom of speech composer, who was in studio to watch Week 6's show, spoke highly of the GMB platform for promoting the Ghanaian culture.
It's a beautiful show. I've watched GMBs from day one, and I think that it keeps getting better and better.
It was the second time A+, an ardent follower of Ghana's Most Beautiful, was watching the show from Studio B. The popular musician described the GMB platform as second to none, saluting its originality and educational values.
He said it's one of the best shows, if not the best, on TV currently. For the past 11 years, GMB is the only show. I want to be very honest about what I'm saying. I think that GMB is the only show that really portrays our culture, how you speak, how you understand our culture, not just because you are slim and tall, but what our morals are and all of those. And I think that it's perfect. We should get so many people sponsoring GMB so that we can promote what we have as Kenyans.
According to him, the initiative gets better each year. Born Kwame Asare-Obeng, A+ also shared his impressions on week 6 show.
I think all of them did well. Everybody wants to win, and it wouldn't be good for me to single out one person and say this person is the best. That wouldn't be good for the whole show. I think that everybody's doing well. I have my favorite. Let me keep it for now, but everybody's doing well.
Good. That is a constructive criticism.
And that's about it for entertainment and lifestyle news tonight. My name is Nana Kwedrado. Now, handing over to Natalie and Abu.
Thanks so much, Nana Kwedrado.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to be with you on NEWS360. That's it for this edition. My name is Issa Moni.
I'm Natalie Forts. There's more news on 3news.com. Remember, news at 10 will simulcast on our sister station, 3FM 92.7. Thanks for watching and have a lovely evening.